Hey, good morning, afternoon, or evening, good people, wherever you are, wherever you happen to be, and however we're together. Thanks for being here. I'm Dave, and this is Dave's Head. So, what's in my head? So, we've heard this thing over the past number of years that racism is dead. We need to stop talking about race. We need to stop talking about race. Everything isn't about race, blah, 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 blah. And despite evidence to the overwhelming contrary, there are people in this country who are sick of hearing about the evil pieces of trash who still are racist in this country. They don't want to hear about the problem. They don't want to hear about what they perceive as, oh, this minute, minuscule existence of 4 or 5 people who exist in this country who are actually racist. Or they want to play whataboutism and turn it around into, well, this person did this who's black at some point, and blah, 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 blah. Racism is not dead. It's very much not dead. And I hate to even bring up this example because of how disgusting it really is. There are really pieces of trash people in this world, and this is an example of one of them. And so this is the example of Sharmaike Omar, who in Rochester, Minnesota, recorded a woman, white woman, repeatedly shouting, yelling, speaking racial slurs to a 5-year-old child. I repeat, a 5-year-old child. And according to Sharmaike, I may or may not be pronouncing the names correctly or not, according to him, other children and parents as well. And the thing that I think it's got lost in this story is people want to focus on the 5-year-old child. And I'll get to her reasoning behind this. But it wasn't just the 5-year-old child she was yelling this to. It was other children and other parents. But people want to finite this conversation into this 5-year-old who allegedly, here's our reason, allegedly stole a diaper bag from a playground. A 5-year-old kid allegedly stole a diaper bag. But this racist piece of trash, because that's what she is, in this country, they're all over this in this country in the most disgusting human way possible. Donating to her whining about repercussions for her own actions through a fundraiser. And I won't mention the site. I don't remember the site. It's not GoFundMe. It's something else. But she's raised almost $1 million. And if you check social media, you'll see a slew of racist comments that are even attacking this 5-year-old child. He wasn't raised right. Well, he's acting like an N-word. That's what he gets. 5-year-old child. And so social media proves that racism is alive and well. These actions of this piece of trash woman proves that racism is alive and well. And so to deny this stuff exists and to pretend as if you're sick of hearing about it because everything can't be racism. Well, this is racism. You don't call a 5-year-old black kid the N-word, hard ER, hard capital ER, repeatedly over and over again. Stand proud on it, right? Like the piece of trash Proud Boys and the piece of trash neo-Nazis. Stand proud on it. And then cry, woe was me. My repercussions for my actions. Please donate to me, protect my family. No, you don't get to do that. But apparently, if there's enough racists who will support you, you do. And now this is being flipped into something else because here's what happens in this country, right? Somebody does something wrong who a segment of people in this country like. And so the person who they did something wrong to, they pick them apart and try to attack them and find different ways. And so Sharmaike was arrested and charged, I believe late last year, with 3rd-degree criminal sexual conduct and 5th-degree criminal sexual conduct, allegedly sleeping with an underage girl. Him and someone else were both arrested for this. And so now people online are trying to act like this video doesn't exist because he has a criminal record, an arrest record. We'll get to the difference in a second. So because he was arrested and charged with these two crimes, he somehow could not have been the victim of racism, and the child that he was with could not have been the victim of racism because of something he is alleged to have done. Right? Here's the key, or the kicker. The Olmsted County, which is up there in Minnesota, attorney's office dismissed the charges back on March 14th. And you want to know what they said? The reason was, in the interests of justice. Google that phrase, Google that term, and see what that specific language means. Or use your own common sense. Hopefully it is common. But because he was actually arrested, now people are pretending that's a conviction. You ask these same people if the person in the White House was convicted of any crimes at all, held liable for any crimes at all, did anything heinous that resulted in both criminal and civil charges, and they will pretend as if they don't know what the hell you're talking about. Right? Because you can't bring that up because somehow it's rigged. But this matters to some piece of trash woman yelling racial slurs at a 5-year-old kid. That makes sense to those types of people. But I grow tired of people pretending that because someone may mention racism and their mentioning of it talks factually about an incident or incidents, that somehow, quote unquote, everything is about race. And, quote unquote, people want to play victims. No, people are tired of racist pieces of trash that exist in this country. And that's what they are. I stand on it 2 feet down, 10 toes down, whatever the saying is. If you're a racist, you're a piece of trash. Period. And so she can raise her money and the racists can donate to her. I won't speak personally about her. Looks like she might blow it in a couple months based on her looks, and that's pretty much all I'm going to say about her. But you deserve the repercussions you get for being an evil piece of trash. And when you attack a 5-year-old who grabbed a bag, didn't grab a bag, maybe grabbed a toy next to it, didn't grab a toy next to it, it's a playground. It's a 5-year-old kid. But racism is okay because that's not your child. You know, I always say that the racists in this country came out of their slightly protective shell, slightly muted shell back in 2008 when America dared to elect a black man president. The hate and vitriol that preceded and followed, and still follows to today, President Barack Obama, is denied as even being a thing by people who are, quote unquote, sick and tired of racism. As if that didn't happen for 8 years and continues today. But all you gotta do is look at social media. These are real people who don't care about repercussions of saying hateful, vitriol things online, whether personally, professionally, whatever. They don't care because that's how they feel. And all they'll do is blame cancel culture, right? Which, by the way, there's no such thing. You have repercussions for your actions. That's not cancel culture. That's called repercussions, right? If I say something on this podcast that people find offensive and it rises to the level of violating a policy that I've signed on to, that's called repercussions. If I have some negative thing that happens because I said those things. If I do something in public that brings a negative light professionally with me, those are repercussions. If clients decide not to work with me or my companies that I'm associated with decide not to work with me. Those are called repercussions, not cancel culture. Repercussions. Because if cancel culture was a thing, then she would almost raise $1 million for being a hateful piece of trash. Hateful racist piece of trash. Cancel culture would have canceled her. But see, cancel culture, as I've said before, is just situational fake outrage, right? For repercussions repercussing. I'm a firm believer in karma, so I don't sweat the fact that she's raising money from hateful racists in this country. Don't sweat it at all, because karma has no timetable. Karma will karma. And how you treat people is how someday you'll be treated as well. I wish no ill intent on anyone in this life. I only wish karma to do karma type of things. And if you're a positive person doing positive things, your karma will be positive. If you're an evil piece of trash, karma might reciprocate that. I'm okay with that. Before I get to the last thing that's in my head, Dave Said Podcast is now part of the Alive Podcast Network, home of Black voices, where community, culture, and creatives live. Dave Said Podcast adds to the catalog of over 70 titles available in the Alive Podcast Network and app for both iOS and Android. Check out Dave Said Podcast and many others in the Alive Podcast app, the home of Black voices. The last thing that's in my head is Mother's Day. Mother's Day happens the same weekend this episode drops. Our episodes drop on Fridays. Mother's Day is a Sunday. It's time for the loving women in this world who gave birth to us to be recognized and celebrated. Now, the commercials are plentiful. I don't think you can turn on TV and watch live TV and not see the commercials that appear during Mother's Day. You will also not find a lack of ability to purchase flowers. And I don't know if you live in an area where, people set up shop at red lights or strip malls, come out of the woodworks to sell you flowers on Mother's Day. There will be no shortage of flowers. I'm not complaining at all. Not at all. And I'm not a father. I'm a multi godfather, like a multi-platinum, multi godfather. But it does seem like mothers get way more commercials than fathers. If you look at social media, the positivity around Mother's Day and the slight negativity around Father's Day, it just happens. But it's social media, people say dumb stuff. I will say it's rightfully so that mothers get a huge positive, loving, commercial laden flowers everywhere environment around Mother's Day. Mothers have the first and most important job when it comes to children. Half of the giving of life, right? Half of the conception, 100% of the incubation, growing, pregnancy, and 100% of the birthing. And so a huge percentage of the reason that I breathe, that you breathe, if you're listening or watching on YouTube or Spotify, there's a huge, or the Alive Podcast Network, there's a huge credit to life to be given to mothers. Granted, fathers have a part too. But when you go through those three big phases, they have half of the first part and none of the other two. And so you look at it as 1/6, which I think is 18% of the credit. Cheerio, fellas. Might be a little more, less than that. But I was doing quick math. I think I got that wrong. Anyway. So mothers should be celebrated in all the ways that a mother can be celebrated. And this is, flowers, spa, dinners, massages. If a mother in your life, whether it's wife, mother, grandmother, whoever, wants to just sit in the grass all day and be hand-fed Mai Tais, you should do that for her. If she wants a spa day and nails done and massage and strawberries with chocolate, both white and dark chocolate fed to her by muscle-bound men, make that happen. And I'm serious. There should be at least, no, I look at birthdays, not forever will always look at birthdays as the highest celebratory day. I'm going to show you I love you. I think I talked about this before in this podcast. I'm going to show you that the day you were born is the most important day to me, because you and me would not be here together if you were unborn. Right? And so that's the same place, with my friends that are close friends to me. But I'm speaking specifically about a partner because I don't have any children. But when we do, Mother's Day will be a close second to how I celebrate my wife or future wife in the future compared to her birthday. So birthday 1A, Mother's Day 1B. But I think most importantly, all mothers, and again, mothers, wife mothers, godmothers, grandmothers, pseudo mothers, they should just simply get a thank you. Because of all the things and reasons that you have that are apparent to you in your forefront of your mind, that you see, that you hear, that you feel, and for all the many, 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 many things that you don't. And so at the very bare minimum, very bare minimum, this Mother's Day, simply say thank you. Now, I did something this year, and I haven't talked about my relationship with my mother on this podcast. We don't really have one. It's been that way for decades. But I did something this year. I woke up actually yesterday, and as I was getting through my normal really get grinding during the day routines, which is kind of check bills and check this and do that, I came across an email that I had a credit, a small, very small credit, for one of the florist companies that I've worked with before, reminding me that, hey, don't forget to use this credit. I'm like, oh, didn't know I had a credit. Okay, guess I'll use it. And so I decided to send my mother some flowers. Now, again, we rarely talk. And I mean like once every year and a half type of talk. And again, it's been that way for decades. But I was compelled, somehow it was on my heart, to simply send her something positive, to send son, mother love on Mother's Day. And so one of the things we'll talk about later on in this episode are that relationship between mothers and their children, and how you can help heal that. And whether that's a healing step or not, it was something that was presented to me from my heart, and I decided to instantaneously roll with it. But at minimum, it's a recognition of an existence and a connection that's always going to be there. In the simplest terms, it's for whatever positivity exists in our relationship, it's simply a thank you. And so I ask that this Mother's Day, at the bare minimum, you simply say thank you. And that's what's in my head. If you were to Google healthy relationships, AI that exists everywhere might give you several things that are considered key elements of a healthy relationship: mutual respect, open communication, trust, honesty, equality, boundaries, support, commitment, affection, independence, problem solving, and forgiveness. Looking at those things, and they are in no particular order, mutual respect is valuing each other's opinions, feelings, and boundaries. Open communication, communicating openly and honestly, including about disagreements and concerns. Trust, feeling confident in your partner's honesty and loyalty. Honesty, being truthful with each other even when it's difficult. Equality, sharing decision-making power and responsibilities equally. Now, I'm going to stop there for a second, because if you looked at social media in the last couple of years, you've seen this whole trend of anti-equality going on. Conversations about splitting bills and who's paying for what and who's giving what this. And even as far as too much affection being, what's the word, punkish or something like that? It's not punkish, it's another word. Equality is an important thing in a relationship. It doesn't have to mean that everything is equal, but the feeling of equality, that power, responsibility, decision-making is equal, is important. Boundaries, respecting each other's personal space, time, and limits. Support, offering emotional and practical support during challenging times. Commitment, being dependable and reliable in fulfilling responsibilities. Affection, expressing warmth and love. A little nookie too. Independence, maintaining individual interests and friendships outside the relationship. Problem solving, working together to overcoming challenges and finding solutions. And forgiveness, being willing to forgive mistakes and move forward. Now, I will say independence is kind of important too. I think it's important that each partner have their own set of friends and There, if you look at the diagram where you have the two circles that cross, and in that middle is that section that kind of looks like a tall double crescent or oval-ish thing. That's where two people coexist in a relationship. You might have some friends that cross over. You might have some hobbies that cross over. But those circles on the outsides, or the portions of those circles, are the independents. And they can exist perfectly fine as well. I do think support's important. Emotional, physical, practical support. Challenges manifest themselves in any and every type of way. And it's important to have a partner who's going to be there to support you, guide you, relieve you, problem solve for you, or just simply be in the space to let you vent. It could be as simple as that. We're talking about this for two reasons. One, you may notice this is the typical guest segment right now. But for the second episode in a row, there were complications that were very much last minute with my guest. And so again, you have me. It was like my Bill Clinton voice. You have me. But the second is, it kind of goes along the theme. And what we're planning to talk about and what we're going to talk about now are two completely different themes. And I kind of pivoted on the theme once this technical or this real issue happened with my guest for this episode. And so we're going to talk about 6 things that you can do in your relationship to give your relationship a chance. Tango.com has an article, Your Relationship Doesn't Stand a Chance Without Making These 6 Choices. It's by Winona Dimeo-Ediger. Hope I pronounced that right. She says, when it comes to the overall health of your relationship, it's the small things that matter most. Over the course of a long-term relationship, you will need to make many choices or big choices as a couple. Serious life-altering decisions such as, quote, should we move across the country so I can take that job? And, quote, should we get married? And, quote, are we ready to have kids? And lastly, quote, how should we tackle this unexpected financial crisis? These are all big choices and undeniably important. But when it comes to overall health of your relationship, she would argue that the small choices we make day to day matter so much more. She says these small choices add up, and that doing these 6 things daily will give your relationship the best chance, especially, and I noted this, I think, before, as we head into the summer months. And I'm willing to bet that if you go and do a study, or there may be a study already, that breakups happen in the warmer climate months than in the colder climate months. And obviously this is relative to where you're living. Obviously, if you're living in Puerto Rico, your cold weather months are not the same as somebody who's living in New York City. And so you might have a different timetable there. But it's important to get through the summer because, listen, nobody wants to be mad and angry in the sweltering heat. Nobody wants to be mad and angry at the barbecues. Nobody wants to be mad and angry traveling on vacation, whether it's a cruise or an island or nothing like that. And in some of those instances, nobody wants to be alone in any of those either. Because then you get questions, what happened to so-and-so? Where's so-and-so? Oh, I'm sorry to hear so-and-so's not coming. So do these 6 things daily. It'll give your relationship the best chance to survive, if you will, into and beyond the summer months. The first one I love. Choose to be present. She says, choose to make your time together meaningful. Choose to put down the damn phone when they're trying to talk to you. You don't have to spend every second at home staring deeply into each other's eyes. But when you're engaging with your partner, choose to be fully engaged. Completely understand that and completely get that. I will say my partner and I, we can sit on the couch and be on our phones, or sit on the couch and watch TV, or be on the couch and just doing nothing, or laying in bed doing nothing. And we feel connected. I think she would agree. But also there are times when I want to put the phone down, or she wants to put the phone down, or we want to do something else. Stop it, people. Didn't mean like that. Well, kind of did. But, and we're present in those capacities as well. So yeah, definitely be present with your partner. One, it helps you grow, helps you communicate, helps you get the nuances of actually things your partner do and don't do when they're happy and not happy. Got to pay attention. Number 2, equally important, I think, choose self-care. She says, do what you need to do to feel happy and whole and fulfilled. Whatever self-care looks like for you, prioritize it without apology. Your relationship will reap the benefits. It's kind of like that saying about health, right? You can't be there for someone else if you can't physically or emotionally or mentally be there for yourself. You can't carry somebody on your back if you can't even walk at all. Same thing with relationship. You can't be the best version of yourself for your partner and for your relationship if you aren't the best version of yourself. I think I'll end that right there. Number 3, choose to be spontaneous. Don't want your relationship to stagnate? Then make spontaneity a priority. Make an effort to imbue your relationship with little unexpected moments as often as you can. It could be the random tickle fest. It could be the random night out, a happy hour, or dinner. Or it could be, hey, you want to Netflix and chill. It could be, let's go for a drive. It could be so many things that are spontaneous that feed your relationship. So choose to be spontaneous. Number 4, choose to take the high road at least half the time. Now, I'm curious why she chose to put at least half the time in there. I would not assume that it was 100%, nor would I assume it's only 1%. I would assume it's situational. She says, let's say your partner is in an awful mood. Don't take the bait. Don't take it personally. Just know that we all have moments of negativity and yuckiness. And the next time you're down in the muck, your partner will return the favor by taking the high road and not holding it against you. Now, I will say I have recent practical examples of this. It's also part of my personality not to take things immediately or directly personal unless it's immediately and directly personal. But every day isn't a great day. And there's a recent example of this situation where one of us was not in a great mood. It rolled off the other's back. I had a conversation about it. One of us said, never even thought 2 seconds more about it. I get it. Stuff happens. I didn't take it personally. And that's just how it has to be sometimes. Your partner is not perfect. And so whether they have a headache or, I'm speaking from my point of view, headache or menstrual time or just tired or frustrated about X or Y or Z. And I think as long as it's not prolonged, daggers thrown at you and a completely unrelated or taking out on you type of way, then, get it, cranky, get it, tired, get it, menstrual, get it, just a bad day, do you need anything? Anything I can help with? Do you just need your space? There's more than one way to take the high road, but there's always the same high road. Don't let it be something personal to you unless it's actually personal to you. Number 5, and I talked about this in the opening segment for a different reason, but we'll talk about it again here. Choose to say thank you. We need to be mindful of appreciating our partners and verbalizing the good stuff. Don't skimp on the gratitude, the positive reinforcement, the thank yous. That stuff matters. I do think it's important to recognize not only the things that your partner does that they are aware that they do, but the things that they do that they're not aware that they're doing. For instance, things that may seem like second nature to someone. Oh, thank you for picking up this sock, right? Oh, whatever. But no, that helped me because I was looking for the other sock because I'm missing a sock and that just happened to be, and that's a really poor example, but I think you get my point. Something that just might be second nature to them. That really wasn't a big deal. Saying thank you was like, oh, damn, they appreciated that. Cool. And thank you for the obvious things that they may not think that you'll say thank you to because they may have perceived it as being uncomfortable, right? Like go back to that bad day or stressed out situation where you were the asshole temporarily and you may have said or done something that they could have taken offense to, but they were there for you and supported you anyway. That may have been a vulnerable position for you to be in to say thankful, and they wouldn't expect it to come from you, but saying thank you anyway. Thanks for understanding I was in a bad mood and for being there for me anyway. Right? Don't skimp on the gratitude. Lastly, choose honesty even when it's uncomfortable. As important as it is to communicate about the good stuff, you've got to be real about the not so good stuff too. When you're with someone for a long time, resentments and unsaid words can easily build up and cause major problems down the road. Do yourself and your relationship a favor and be honest about things that are bothering you. Be honest, be real. It might be tough at the moment, but it's so worth it down the road. Now, 99% agree with this. The 1% caveat for me is because I'm a thinker. And so my caveat would be sometimes immediate direct honesty is not what's best. Not just because it would be uncomfortable, but because sometimes we need to gather our thoughts to make sure the honesty we're trying to convey is, one, truly honest, and two, easily understood by what we're going to say. And so 100% agree with choose honesty, even if it's uncomfortable. That discomfort might be in the fact that your honesty is coming out too soon. You might need to think about it for a second. But that discomfort should not be the reason that you never convey that honesty. Hopefully that makes sense. So those 6 things: choose to be present, choose self-awareness or self-care, choose to be spontaneous, choose to take the high road, choose to say thank you, and choose honesty, even when uncomfortable. Those 6 things that you do every single day will give yourself the best chance to get through not only the summer, but every situation you're going to be in the short term and hopefully the long term in your relationship. My absolute favorite segment of my podcast is my GRIN, which stands for Great Reason to Be in Love with Now. I've already talked about Mother's Day being this weekend. Not everyone has a healthy or great or even merely an active relationship with their mother. I've talked about this already. I don't. Whether or not those relationships can be healed, in your heart, try to find forgiveness. Leslie Leland Fields is an international teacher, speaker, and multi-award winning author. On her site, she has a blog entry entitled 6 Irresistible Reasons to Forgive Your Mother This Mother's Day. She says when Mother's Day comes around, way too many people of every age struggle with conflicting feelings. Hurts, past and ongoing, often cripple our relationship. And so these 6 things she provides as reasons to forgive your mother. Number 1, and I feel like I've talked about this already, but she chose to give you life. She says when we're hurt and disappointed, often we compile a list of all that our mother didn't do for us, forgetting to count all she did. Remember this: she chose to keep the pregnancy and bring you to light and life. She could have chosen otherwise. It's very true. It's probably the most important reason, because if she chose something different, you wouldn't be here to feel a certain way, right? Think about it that way. Number 2, she tried her best. Mothers, birth mothers, stepmothers, adopted mothers, all came to parenting with their own loads of baggage and circumstances. Some of our mothers were not mothered themselves. They simply did not know how to do it. And that's true. There are mothers who did not have a great role model or example in their household, a representation of a good and positive mother. And so they never learned, at least in the household, because there are outside influences that can show you and demonstrate to you what a positive and good mother is. But at least in the household, which I think this is referencing, there was not a positive and direct example, role model, if you will, of how to be a good mother. And so all she could do was try her best. Whether her best was good enough or not is irrespective of the fact that she never got the lessons to teach her how to be a good mother. Number 3, and I think this is a crucial one. She cannot repay her debts against you. When we forgive, we release the offender from the hurts and debts they owe us. We do this because it is impossible for them to pay back what they owe us. And owe us is in quotes, debts in quotes. They simply can't. They're unable either by temperament, by circumstances, by their own human limitations. We give the gift of mercy. When we do this, we not only free our mothers, but we free ourselves from acting as judge and jury over them. Those years are gone, and while you and your mother may wish to take them back, it is not possible. This one hits home because for the longest time, and again, I haven't spoken in depth about my relationship with mother on this podcast, at least I don't think. this concept of repaying debts resonates strongly with me based on our historical path we've taken. It also resonates because that's how I've come to the conclusion or realization of forgiveness, or the result of forgiveness. Because there is nothing that can change the past. The past is the past. That's why I've forgiven many people in my life, because there's nothing I can do to change what they've done or the quote unquote debts that they've taken from me or owe to me. And so she, your mother, cannot repay those quote unquote debts against you, because the past is the past and it can't be changed. Number 4, your negative emotions affect your own children and family. Your children may be missing getting to know their own grandmother. Even imperfect people have qualities and life experiences that your children can benefit from. While you may want to protect your child, be careful as well not to superimpose on your children the relationship you had with your mother. And it is key, and I kind of equate this to a mother and father who separate or divorce, or for some reason aren't together, and one parent talks bad about the other parent in front of the child or to the child. Those negative things can impact your children's perception of you, the family's interaction with you, all those things, robbing the child of that circle, that village, and also the positive lessons from you. Because if all they're seeing is you negative talk your mother, negative talk your male spouse or female spouse that you birthed this child with, then that's all they're going to have is negative emotions to draw towards creating love in their life. Whether it's love for those people you have an issue with or love for anybody else. Number 5, so your children will forgive you. We are still imperfect mothers ourselves, and she's speaking to mothers here, who have hurt our children at times. We will want and need from them a spirit of love and forgiveness, particularly as they become adults, particularly as they get older too, because you need somebody to take care of you. If we are not modeling this towards our own parent, they are less likely to extend the same towards us. It goes back to the comment I just made. If all you're showing and teaching implicitly, not intentionally, but implicitly, negativity towards anybody who's done you wrong in the slightest way, because that will be the perception, then how can your children forgive you when you haven't shown them forgiveness is a thing? And I do like to note about getting older, because, as you get older, they say that parents go from children and back to children, right? And so their children should be there to take care of them as they get older. If you ruin relationships in your life, including those and specifically those of your children, who will be there for you in your final years, months, days? So your children forgive you. Last but not least, so you can become the kind of person you want to be. It's too easy to get trapped in anger and resentment, but most of us don't like ourselves this way. You may not have to live with your mother, but you can't avoid living with yourself. At the end of the day, when you look in the mirror, your mother's not there. Your children aren't there, just you. When you look into your eyes in the mirror, you're only looking at you. And so who do you want to be to yourself? Hateful, vengeful, vindictive, angry, non-forgiving person? Or do you want to be somebody that says, even though this relationship may not have a future, the forgiveness is going to be there? And that's what it's all about. Living with yourself every day without the strain and weight of hate being a constant thing. People are people, humans are humans. They do people wrong. Whether it's mother, spouse, friend, stranger, whoever. Now, granted, there's levels. I get it. Right? Somebody tries to kill you. That's a different type of forgiveness that you got to graduate. You got to go through like Mortal Kombat stages in order to get to that level of forgiveness. But in order to be who you want to be and be someone who wants to teach a child the right way and raise a child the right way, you don't want to live in anger and resentment and hate. Right? As we approach Mother's Day, think about those reasons to forgive your mother. She chose to give you life. She tried her best. She can't. She cannot repay her debts against you. Your negative emotions affect your own children and family so that your children will forgive you, and so you can become the kind of person you want to be. Lastly, as I promised, always promise, before I let you go, I will give you a quote to sum up this episode, connected to this episode. This quote is by Jonathan Huey, known as the philosopher of happiness. Forgive others, not because they deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve peace. One of the things I love saying, one of my sayings is enjoy life because life should be fun. But for years, especially the last 10 or so years, I had a saying, peace is the real bag, because getting the bag was the thing, right? Everybody wanted to get the bag. Video, TikTok, this, everybody talking about getting the bag. And I said, getting the bag is really peace. Peace is the real bag. Whether it's forgiveness, whether it's walking away from a work situation or a personal situation, a relationship, whatever. Your peace is the most important. And so forgiving someone isn't about letting them off the hook or dismissing what they did to you, or it may be, but trying to reconcile. It's not about that. It's about finding your peace. That's what's most important. Your peace matters. And so as we get through this Mother's Day, if you don't have a positive relationship with your mother, it's a great time to think about getting one again. Whether it's simply sending flowers to say, hey, just want to let you know I love you. If that's what it is. If it's reaching out and saying, hey, we need to fix this and heal this. How can we get there? Or if it's simply saying, there is no future. That's what it's going to be. I have to forgive and move forward. That's what it is too. Think about it. And either way, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. So mothers, healthy relationships and forgiveness. All great reasons to be in love with now. That's all for this episode of Dave's Head. If you enjoyed this episode, I'm sure you'll love similar content in the Alive Podcast Network app. Plus, you can support this podcast and enjoy ad-free listening to nearly 100 other Black-hosted podcasts. Download the iOS or Android app, become a member, and experience unlimited access to Black-hosted content week after week. Follow, like, and or subscribe to this podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and or X at Dave's Head Pod, and on YouTube at Dave's Head Podcast. For more information and links to all things Dave's Head, check out our website at daveshead.card.co. Episode premiere on the second and fourth Fridays of the month. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, enjoy life because life should be fun. Take care.